Hi, welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. It's been a long time. Share this link with everybody. Get into all your Guyanese groups. Uh, Share this link across social media, wherever you're watching from. Text me, let me know where you're watching from. Call up all your relatives and friends, whether you're watching from North America, which is the US and Canada, East Coast here in New York and the other tri-state regions, all across the East Coast or on West Coast. Which is now 7 o'clock over there. If you're watching from Europe, Africa, Asia, wherever, Guyana, the Caribbean, wherever you're watching from, good night to you. Share this link to everybody. We have a very important topic tonight, especially if you're in the diaspora. Especially if you're in the diaspora. You need to watch this program tonight. So get into all your Guyanese groups, share the link, and I'll be right back in 60 seconds. Hi, yes, again, this is Rickford Burke in New York. Share this link. We have a slight technical difficulty. That's why we started a bit late. But keep sharing the link. I'll be right back in 6 seconds. We're trying to work that out. Is it worked out? Okay, we're working out. So we're trying to broadcast and also on another platform across the Caribbean. So we're working on that. And when we get back, we'll start. So share the link. Keep sharing the link. All right, I think we're getting there. Keep sharing the link. I'll be back in 60 seconds. All right, ready to go. Keep sharing this link, keep sharing this link. This is a very interesting program tonight. So tonight I wanted to talk about the PPP's war against African Guyanese in the diaspora. You might wonder what I'm talking about. They're like, oh, we live in our lives perfectly well. What war are you talking about? Well, that's why they're having a war on the diaspora, because you guys are not paying attention. All right, so I want everybody to pay attention. Keep sharing this link. All of you, excuse me, all of you on this platform, I see about 3,000 people here. Share the link. Keep sharing this link to everybody. So, everybody remember last year, we had the anti-racism march through the streets of Brooklyn, straight down Flatbush, straight to Grand Army Plaza, shut down the whole of South Brooklyn, 10,000 people. We had, what, 19 officials, including 12 members of parliament that came up. And we had members of Congress, senators, city council members, the speaker of the New York City Council, Congressman Jeffries, at a series of events, Assembly Member Diana Richardson, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, all of these, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, spoke at different events during this whole weekend, which was to protest PPP racism in Guyana. I'm a bit hoarse, so, and you recall the PPP issued a statement attacking Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, saying that he was being misled by Rickford Burke or whomever else, and that there's no racism in Guyana, absolutely none. The Prime Minister issued a statement, Gail Tashiri wrote a letter, and regardless of what happened, people believed and reacted to that rally. We had members of Black Lives Matter, the Haitians, the Vincentians. It's very hot in here with all these lights. So all of these people joined the rally, 10,000 of us. And so the government started to get very concerned that the protests and the outrage that Guyanese are expressing on social media is affecting their image. And as you know, the world is currently anti-racism. All across Europe, all across Africa, all across the, well, I know about the Caribbean, but the world is expressing outrage about racism to the point where the United Nations last year passed a resolution calling for the end of slavery and racism across, the elimination of slavery and racism across the world. The PPP objected to that, and they voted with Trump against it. They didn't even understand why the Trump administration was voting against it, because they're tied to Israel, and Israel practices racism. At least that's what the perception is in the Middle East, and the perception is among some Americans because of the mistreatment of the Palestinians. Keep sharing the link. So they jumped and voted for it because they were like, oh, we got all these black people in our country, oh, they're slaves to us, so we have to back Trump because Trump put us in office here, so we have to back Trump. And they voted with Trump against the elimination of racism across the world. Racism, let's say racism. The evil atrocity of racism that caused the Holocaust, that caused slavery. Racism. The PPP went to the United Nations, the world's most important, foremost deliberative legislative body, the United Nations General Assembly. They voted against the elimination of racism around the world, which means that they feel racism is a just practice. So when we stood up in New York at Grand Army Plaza, at that old war site, and denounced PPP racism, they felt that it was an affront to them, and they attempted to abuse and assault and accuse everybody who was involved in that and who spoke there, including members of Congress. They're so brave, they're attacking members of Congress. So they decided to come up with a strategy. And their strategy was, all these black people in the diaspora that are condemning us, we have to find a way to tie them to some sort of atrocity internationally so that the United States and people from all around the world will denounce them. So they decided to say, all of us who were at that rally denouncing racism, we are racist, and we are advocating terrorist acts against the government of Guyana and East Indians. It's some purely nonsensical, but that's what they're doing. They are trying to brand us as terrorists. Oh, how dare you speak about our racism? Our racism was sanctioned by Lord Shiva, Lord Hari, Lord whatever, our lords. Racism is our holy practice as PPP. Note my words very carefully, I'm saying PPP. That's their sacred philosophy. Racism. How dare you attack our racism? You are terrorists. So they decided to have some meetings and strategize on a public relations effort to brand us as racists and terrorists. Black people speaking up for their rights. These racists in the PPP think that we're terrorists. Sounds familiar? They're taking a playbook from the KKK. They're taking a playbook from the KKK. So when we thought that Jim Crow was dead and gone, nailed to the cross and buried 100 feet below the earth, he had a little set of cousins running around in Bar Jagdeo and Irfan Ali and the Red Gale to share and the others in the PPP. They're cousins of Jim Crow. Because they don't believe, keep sharing the link, they don't believe that racism should be eliminated and that black people are equal to them. Because their philosophy is based on racial, East Indian racial triumphalism and supremacy. Racial supremacy. Oh, we're superior to you guys. We're supreme. We're East Indians from the PPP. How dare you question us about our racism? Our racism is just. Our racism is holy. Our racism is mandated by God in some book somewhere. How dare you speak out against our racism? You're a terrorist. We will put you on a watch list because you're a terrorist. Boom. They announced this week that people on Facebook and social media from New York, we're the most vocal here in New York, are going to be placed on a government watch list. Now let's break this down. At the anti-PPP rally in New York, somebody was entertaining the crowd, and the song Full Extreme by Mad Max from Trinidad was playing, a soca song. If the city would burn down, we jamming still. If the building would fall down, we jamming still. That's the song that was played. That was the theme. Trample them. Right? Because the chorus of that song is trample them. So the theme of the rally was trample the racists, trample them. So they decided to try to come back from that as a counter message that they're going to say, we said burn down Georgetown. So now let's look at what happened. So this entertainer was singing along in the song, and it was a happy, merry moment. Everybody jumping up on stage and so on. And the guy said he substituted the word city and building for Georgetown. So he was singing along, and he said, if Georgetown would burn down, we jamming still. If Georgetown would fall down, we jamming still. That's the man said. It's America. Free speech. Georgetown, it would have been a different story. I would not have tolerated that. I would have stopped the proceedings and condemned it right there. He didn't say that. Nobody advocated anything. That's all the man said. The PPP ran the next day and said, oh, the black people in New York at the rally said burn down Georgetown. Seriously, that's what they said. That black man that was up there singing, he was advocating for burn down Georgetown. So when the Breakdown police station burned down, they said, ah, that's the man. He come and burn down Georgetown. People in the diaspora are burning police stations. So a man that was singing a soca song satirically in Georgetown, silly, we're getting some more technical difficulties here. The man went on a plane, bought a plane ticket for $1,100, flew into Guyana, went and burned down Breakdown police station, the most secure police station in the whole of Georgetown. It is the central police station in Georgetown, the headquarters of the Georgetown division of the Guyana Police Force. A man from a stage ran off the plane and burned it down. The Minister, Robertson Ben, the Minister of National Security, Home Affairs, said that. Even Orphan the so-called president, said that. Then Barjack, they repeated it. Then lo and behold, the fire service said, the police issued a statement saying, a prisoner said he took a wire, wrap up a rope, put it in some kerosene oil, and light it a fire with a lighter, and drop it down a hole, and it burned down the police station. Meanwhile, witnesses, including some fire officers, said they saw the fire starting from an office of one of the police people upstairs in Breakdown police station. So the police technically, allegedly, burned down Breakdown police station. But no, these black people in Brooklyn at the rally with the Congress people and all the city council members and the assembly members and all those Haitians black people that were there, step on down the thing. And a man left New York and went and burned down the thing. We got to pin it on them so that they're going to look bad internationally. That's their strategy. So check this. The part of the police headquarters now burned down, including the DPP's office, record office, where all of the records are kept. Conveniently burned down. Robertson Ben, the Minister of Home Affairs, National Security, rushed to the scene. Police escorts arrived at the scene, run to the press. This was burned down because the people in the diaspora and the anti-racism rally said, burn down Georgetown. And so another person from the diaspora came here and burned down this building. I'm not even kidding. That's what the minister said. 30 minutes after that, the fire department released a statement saying it was an electrical fire. Some circuit box blew up because of an electrical shortage. And that the report was handed over and submitted to the very minister who refused to make it public. Why? Because their strategy is to keep saying that people in the diaspora that are criticizing them and condemning them, burning down Georgetown. That's their strategy. So that no members of Congress can listen to us. Elected officials at the state of New York would not listen to us. And they will be able to secretly compile a list with this purported nonsense that people are saying burn down Georgetown so they can't come to Guyana because we can lock them up and kidnap them. So lo and behold, mind you, it is one man who sang the song. So even if you don't like the fact that the man sang the song, in America, the land of the free, in America, where the Constitution says if a man wants to burn down anywhere, he has the right to say it, so long as he don't commit a crime. Right? In America, an American citizen, stood up on American soil in Brooklyn and sang a song, and these racists in Guyana are saying the man said burn down Georgetown. Why? Because in New York, we're the fiercest opponents. We're the ones with the gusto and the balls to challenge them, to expose their racism, to go to the United Nations, to write the ABC countries, to write our members of Congress, to meet with our members. How dare these black people in New York do that against us rich, superior East Indians in the PPP? How dare you do that? You're terrorists. Right? So we're going to find a way to deal with them. As for that one part, he won't go meet with members of Congress and meet with Vice President Harris and meet with all these people in the Biden administration. We're going to put out a warrant for you so you can't come Guyana. Like if I care. That ain't work. Their strategy was when they put out a warrant for me, everybody's going to run from me. All the Congress members and all the elected officials and the judges and the community leaders and the business people and the Wall Street leaders and everybody that he associates with would run from him and he would become a pariah. It didn't happen. So they got to try something else. Right? So this week now, they finally got the balls because nobody in Guyana is really challenging them on it. Not the ABC countries, not the other members of the international community. Nobody's challenging them on it. So they're going further and further and further because they want to have a civil war with black people. Because they think after that they're going to partisan the country and they're going to be able to take what they want or whatever it is. Whatever is their vision for trying to engender civil conflict. I don't know, but that's exactly what their strategy is. Nobody can tell me that they don't want to war with black people because they think they have the arms and the ammunition and they have the police force and the army behind them. So they want to have a war, a showdown. Mind you, they tried it from 1961 to 1963, where they ran through the whole country, killing black people, burning down their homes, burning villages. The PPP did that. And for the young generation of Guyanese, The PPP tried to kill Black people from 1961 to, not tried, they did. You remember the civil war we had in Rwanda? That's what they did in Guyana, the PPP. Go read our history about the disturbances of the 1960s, when they came at night and bombed Black people's homes and ran them out of villages that they lived with the East Indians. The PPP did that, and the country must not forget, because this time a long time, and this generation of Black people would not tolerate it. They tried it again under Barry Jagdev's presidency, and at some point in time, he has to pay for the murder of over 1,400 young people, Black men, that they killed through their death squads, led by Roger Khan, who's free now to roam around Guyana. Barry Jagdev and others are free to roam around Georgetown and puff up their chests and talk about their leaders of the country when they're murderous criminals. Me says so. So, you know, whenever Trump wanted to talk about how bad Black people were, they put out a Black person to talk about it. PPP does the same thing. Everything is a pattern, a replica of the Trump presidency. Barry Jagdev was implementing that in Guyana. So they put out something from a junkyard, Robeson Ben, that old, dirty, stinking looking Negro who has a hatred, a passionate hatred, the level of Clarence Thomas for Black people in Guyana, contemptuous of his own race, because his family has a history where they're at war with the PNC. So he thinks that that vendetta must be carried out against the Black population of Guyana. So he's come to this office of Minister of Home Affairs with this vendetta against Black people. And the PPP uses it well in this role. So they put out Robeson Ben, right, to say, coming out of this rally, where one man sang a song, that there are several people in the diaspora calling for Georgetown to burn. Several people. No evidence, right? But I'm going to respond to him. I responded to him before in a broadcast last Friday. But I want the people who didn't hear that to hear what Robeson Ben said.
Morning.
Let me see. Let me try again. We're getting mixed up with our videos here. All right, well, let me try one more. That's not it. All right, so let me see if I can get it this way.
We need to condemn those who may stand up. Some of them, or most of them, in New York or someplace, and say the Georgetown and Bondong, something which upsets me greatly. It could not be that we could carry our discussion, our engagement, our varied perspectives on the leadership in Guyana, on how we develop our communities, if persons would suggest that we must burn the house down, go in a cinema and say, shout fire, we will not get anywhere. I want to encourage citizens, Guyanese citizens, taxpayers, those who live here, to condemn those persons who make those assertions publicly, and they also make it in this new space, new media space called Facebook and Twitter and all those other places. They make these things. They don't live here. They don't care. And I'm prepared to have them arrested when they come to the airport in Guyana. whichever airport or through whichever port, I'll have them arrested. Because it is more than a suggestion of creating and wanting public terror.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pause for 60 seconds to clear this up and I'll be back. We have a little technical difficulty. Don't go anywhere. Right. So we're back. Got the technical difficulty cleared up. So, like I was saying earlier, we have like a little blackout here. That's Robeson Ben. That's Mr. Ben. He's gonna get people locked up when they come home to Guyana. He's gonna get people locked up. Now, remember, one man, and I'm gonna find that video of the gentleman singing the song. I think we have the video, the audio of the man singing the song. But nobody never said burn down Georgetown. I am challenging Robeson Ben tonight to produce the tape where several people in the diaspora call for Georgetown to be burned down. Bring it. Don't get up and give speeches and talk nonsense with your dirty, unkept self. Bring the video. Show the video. You guys have access to all of the media in Guyana. I am challenging the PP government tonight to produce the evidence. Have you ever seen a country and a government make public policy about people's liberties based on fantasy, based on obsession, an obsession with killing people? That's what they want to do. They want, when Rickford Burke or whomever else attack them on Facebook, go home, they must kill them, arrest them, pin false charges on them. And we're not making this up. I'm not making this up. They've done this in the past. They murdered Ronald Waddle because he had a talk show criticizing them. And there was no consequences. They murdered Courtney Camuing during the campaign when APNU won. And it's a national disgrace that Courtney Camuing died campaigning for the APNU AFC coalition, and they did nothing, not even a commission of inquiry. They are ungrateful. That some of those leaders in that coalition, they're ungrateful. I am saying that. It is a national disgrace that they allow those people to kill that man during the campaign. And David Granger and his band of travelers went into power and never did uplifted a finger to ensure that there was public accountability. Things like this really get me enraged whenever I think about it. That man's blood was spilled for them, and they did nothing about it. They're ungrateful, the APNU AFC coalition. And I have no apologies to make. And none of you don't call me and ask me about what I said tonight. I have no apologies to make. Because we are facing this problem now because we had leaders who were in government in the coalition, including Mr. Granger, who are wimps and cowards. That's why we have this problem right now, where we have racists running the country and doing whatever they want because they're failing to stand up and represent their people. I just had to throw that in. This is not a program about the APNU AFC coalition, but I just have to throw that in. So now they want the international community is watching them, so they can't kill people anymore. They can't kill people anymore. So now they want to lock you up. And they again getting away with it because they were able to arrest Walter Lawrence and charge her falsely. Nothing happened. Chief elections officer, all of these people, police officers that attempted it with Paul Slow and get through, right? They want to show the public that they can embarrass Paul Slow. But he had a plan for them. So they didn't get to put no handcuff on him. So to come up with this plan now, that when black people go to Guyana, they're gonna arrest them who criticize them on Facebook. Everybody who criticizes the PP on Facebook from the diaspora means born down Georgetown. So if you say the PP is racist, to them it means born down Georgetown. If you sneeze, you say born down Georgetown. If you pass gas, you say born down Georgetown. That's the PPP. You talk about their corruption, you say born down Georgetown. You talk about them giving contracts only to their own supporters, their interpretation is you say born down Georgetown. That's they're stuck on that record. You said burn down Georgetown. And like I said before, I dare them. Stop talking. Act. Bring the proof. Let us get the record. Show the country. Anybody who said burn down Georgetown, Robeson Ben. Stop talking. Talk is cheap. Produce the evidence. I am challenging Robeson Ben tonight, or finally Bar Jabdale, whomever in the PP who has the evidence of some black person in the diaspora saying burn down Georgetown, bring it on. Produce the evidence. And don't bring no man singing if the city was burned, because that's a satirical part of the song. The man said whether Georgetown burning down or a building in Georgetown falling down, we jamming still. That's the song. Bring the evidence. Bring the evidence. Everybody listening now, go on your platform and say, bring the evidence of the people saying burn down Georgetown. And I'm a black rights advocate, a civil rights advocate, an advocate for the rights of human beings, for all human beings. But we got to advocate for black people in Guyana because black people are under threat, and some East Indians who don't support them, and Amerindians. And I'm a black man, a proud black man, a proud black leader in America, in the Caribbean community in America. So I'm proud to be an advocate for black people. You want to call that racist? Then go right ahead and call me racist. Because you are discriminating against black people in the PPP. So somebody got to stand up for me, and I chose to do it. And if you think that is racism, then you could go where the sun doesn't shine. So don't stand up at no press conference and try to rile up your racist supporters, your cult members, because you want them to feel that they say, but no Georgetown. And let me tell you, Georgetown are black people. The majority of black people in Ghana live in Georgetown. So why would black people in America say burn down Georgetown? Why would Georgetown people stand up in America and say burn down Georgetown? Bloody idiots. Why would we want to burn down the support base of the coalition that we support unapologetically? Doesn't make sense, bloody idiots. Georgetown is the mecca of coalition votes. Georgetown is governed by the coalition. The mayor of Georgetown was at the rally. You think the mayor of Georgetown is going to stand up and allow people to advocate to burn down Georgetown at a rally? Bloody idiots. There were 200 police officers about that, lining the whole route of the parade, and dozens of them on site at the rally. They're so stupid. They don't even have the intellectual capacity to come up with a reasonably sounding lie. You think a chief of police for Brooklyn, who was right there, would stand up and hear somebody say, burn down a city? Even though we have the First Amendment rights, they would call one of us and say, tell a person to stop saying that. You think a congressman is going to sit down at a rally and hear somebody say, burn down a city? You think an assemblywoman who advocates for her people would sit down at a rally and hear somebody say, burn down Georgetown? You think the speaker of the New York City Council is going to be there and hear people say, burn down Georgetown? You think Rickford Burke and all the other leaders of CGID would sit there and hear people say, burn down Georgetown? You think 11 members of Congress, members of Parliament of Guyana will sit at a rally and hear anybody say burn down Georgetown and not say anything about it? You think the regional chairman of Region 4, whose geographic constituency includes Georgetown, would sit at a rally and hear anybody say burn down Georgetown? Stop lying, Robeson Ben. Cut it out. Let this be the last time you stand up anywhere and talk that nonsense, you numbskull. If you want to challenge us about our arguments that the PPP is racist, come out and say so. If you want to challenge us that, okay, since you criticize us, come to Guyana, we're going to see who more bad, say so. And our people will come down there. And I said, me, I'll come to Guyana, my own choosing, not none of y'all choosing. And that y'all can't do me nothing. I don't commit any crime. But you see, the people in the opposition allow them to get away with this nonsense, so they feel they could intimidate people by saying they must be arrested. Well, I have news for them. Touch one person from the diaspora with your nonsense and your lies about them saying Georgetown. Touch one person. Yes, that's a threat tonight. Touch one of them. Touch one Guyanese from the diaspora. And we will unleash an unprecedented campaign against this government. A George Floyd type campaign whenever they come here. And we will force them to spend money on lawyers here. We will sue them in federal court. We will get criminal charges filed against them for kidnapping an American citizen. We will go to their families' homes. We are researching it right now, and we are making a list. We are making our list of where their relatives live here in America, and we will go to their homes and protest. Bullhorns in hand, blaring microphones. Yes, we will go. If you guys think you're crazy in the PPP, y'all ain't see crazy yet. We're going to unleash the George Floyd treatment. You want to arrest people because you can't stand the fact that they're criticizing you on social media. The man is so lying. First they said somebody was at a rally saying burn down Georgetown. Now he's saying people on social media saying burn down Georgetown. Who on social media saying burn down Georgetown? Facebook and Twitter and all the unregulated. Who on Facebook? Where Robinson Ben got that nonsense from? Nobody on Facebook is saying burn down Georgetown. People on Facebook are calling them out for their racism because we in the diaspora got balls. We in the diaspora are not going to sit and take the abuse of the PPP. So we are the fiercest critics. This is where the real opposition is. In the diaspora here, this is where the real opposition is. So their trap, we're going to arrest y'all when y'all come together because y'all criticizing us. And you're making the investors feel we racist. So we're going to arrest y'all. Well, arrest them. Arrest anybody. And make no mistake about it, people. It's black people Robinson Ben talking about. It's black people. They don't have any respect for black people. They want a war with black people. Because somehow, like the wrong set of black people there in Guyana, they know how to talk up for their rights. They know how to speak up and stand up and fight racists. They don't know. Their ancestors died and buried with the tenacity and the indomitable will. So they ain't inherited. They know how to stand up and speak up against racism. They sit in there and take all the abuses. And all they want to do is run to Skank concert and run to Patrice Roberts concert, and even the ones that are discriminated against, you can't get them to go and protest. So the people feel empowered, right? Them black people stupid, man. Just knock off 20 more of them. Oh, them black people stupid, man. Take away all them gun license. Them black people stupid, man. Give 20 more Kolibaye contracts, man. Our people them must get contracts. You know? Don't give them no contract, man. They don't say nothing. Even they say nothing, nobody not listen to them, man. Give them a 4 million more contract. Make sure you take 2 million sent back to me, eh? That's the PPP. Meanwhile, we complaining is when Joe Biden is going to do something about this administration. And when is the State Department is going to do something about it? And Rickford, when is this going to happen? When are we going to get rid of this government? When you and I are not going to get rid of the government? Are you guys registered to vote? Are you making sure that all of your members and your family register to vote? That's how you get rid of the government. You vote them out. And just before I close, let me speak about it. Today I saw an article talking about the government refusing to renew the export license for gold and diamond miners who are black. In the meantime, they have renewed the license for 6 East Indian-owned gold and diamond dealerships, including Muhammad's and El Dorado Enterprise, both of whom are under investigation by the United States government, and then in the case of Jack Mohan, by the Canadians. But black people can't get a license renewed. So black people can't get contracts. Black people can't mine gold or export it. Black people can't get land. They're pushing the country to civil conflict. Because in any country where people feel discriminated against, where people feel that they're locked out of economic survival, where people feel that they're locked out of economic development, where people feel you're taking their taxpayers and transfer it to your supporters, taxpayer dollars, where people feel disempowered, where people feel hopeless, where people see that you're taking the resources of the entire country and the finances of the country and transfer it to your East Indian supporters. That is a recipe for chaos. That's a recipe for civil chaos. But they don't care. Y'all think the people care anything about that? They know they got their guns stockpiled and they're ready. They know that the army and the police and, and Clifford Hicken from the police force, he's just like Robinson Ben. He knows that the whole black population hates him because he was responsible for the murder of 3 Londoners who protested against the increase of electricity. He had his police officers gun them down. And then they went to the Commission of Inquiry and said, well, we don't know where the bullet come from. You have police at the scene of a protest. People get shot. Never investigated the matter. We don't know what bullet that come from. We don't know who had that gun. The ballistic tests disappear. That's the country that we call our country. Them killed 3 people, the police, and nobody know where the bullet come from. Let me confuse everybody. Let me throw this thing, wherever stick, throw everything at the wall. We don't know where the gun from. We heard several competing gunshots. You know, who that day we didn't take a record of who had what gun. We don't know whose rungs were missing as officers. We didn't do an inventory when they went back to see whose guns had rungs missing. Nothing. But he was the commanding officer of the scene. And he is responsible for the murder of those people. And because the black population hates him, he is siding with the racists because he wants power and he wants dominance. You see that little shark man, Napoleon? He has acute Napoleon complex. Now I say, I don't know the gentleman, I never had nothing against it, but the main fact that as a human rights and a civil rights advocate, he is responsible for those deaths. He should never have been promoted. And David Granger should have fired him from the police force. Another failure of Mr. Granger. And let me say this, people, do you know that up to now, even though this killing was happened on these protesters in Linden were murdered under the PP government, the AAPNU government came into power. And even though the commission awarded those people monetary damage in the family, the Granger administration never paid the people in Linden. I think they were all awarded $1.something million. Granger administration never paid the people, and not a national disgrace. That's why they're out of power. They have no loyalty to their supporters. None. None whatsoever. Those people in Linden have not been compensated for the murder of their family, neither by the PPP, neither by the APNU coalition government. But when election time comes, these politicians run around to you and ask you for their votes. And I'm not saying don't vote for them. I'm saying when you vote for them, hold them accountable. So as I wrap up, let me say this. People in Guyana, stand up and fight for your rights. People in the diaspora, y'all know what to do. Don't get intimidated by no orangutan looking junkyard fella in a cabinet, the most unkept public servant in the country, or public official, threatening to arrest you. Continue to speak out. Continue to write your elected officials. Continue to write letters to the international community. Continue to advocate for equal rights and justice and equitable governance. The PPP is wreaking havoc with the people money. Black people can't get contract. Black people end up on no board. Black people are doing nothing. They're shutting, they have a noose, a KKK noose around the necks of black people, economic noose. Fight for economic justice. All of the international institutions have been saying there must be shared management of the country's resources. Who the hell is Barjack there to sit down in some back office with some drug dealers talking about who owns Guyana and who must have gold license and who must get land and who must get this and who must get a job? These people don't own Guyana. These people don't own our country. Why are we allowing them to do it? Why are we allowing them to do it? And then you come up here and you complain. Leaders come up here and complain to the elected officials, and then they go back to Guyana and do nothing. People in Guyana need leadership. They need leadership For God's sake, leaders in Guyana, stand up, step up, and lead your people. These are people who went and voted for you. These are people who took risks and voted for you publicly, align themselves to you. Now the PPP has a philosophy. If you're not supporting them, you can't benefit from nothing for the country. You can't work for the government. You can't get any benefits. You shut off. You must go and die because you're not their supporter. So you can't benefit from nothing from the country. Our country, and Black people got more rights to Guyana than the PPP because it's our ancestors and forefathers build that country, slaves. That's my last message. Slaves build Guyana. And the inheritance of the slaves must inherit Guyana. Fight for your rights. Diaspora people, we were oriented to stand up for rights. Don't get intimidated. Go to Guyana boldly. Go on social media boldly and condemn their racism. Condemn the fact that they're only giving contracts to Black people. Condemn the fact that they're only giving licenses to export gold to East Indian people. And like I've always said, they're perfectly wonderful human beings in Guyana who are East Indians who do not support the racism and the criminality of the PPP and the murderous conduct of the PPP. I'm not speaking about those people. Those people are on our side. We welcome them. I'm speaking about members of the PPP cult. Condemn them. And when you go to Guyana, we dare them to arrest any United States citizen or any citizen or everywhere, anywhere, for speaking out on Facebook, truth to power. And we will give them the George Floyd treatment. That's my message for tonight, my friends. So, as I close, again, I want to encourage everybody in Guyana, speak out, speak up, stand up for your rights, speak out. Have a good night, everybody.